Back to follow-up segment tonight. This soundbite on Susan Rice caught my attention.
I'm not going to prejudge here, but I think every American should know whether or not the National Security Advisor to President Obama was involved in unmasking Trump transition figures for political purposes. It should be easy to figure out, and we will.
And joining us on Washington is Senator Graham. Do you really believe it's going to be easy to figure this out, Senator?
Might be hard to have consequences, but it'd be easy to figure out. John Brennan and Clapper, or the CIA Director of National Intelligence, need to be asked the following question. Did Susan Rice ever make a request of you or your agencies or the NSA to have unmasking of any Trump transition figures that were incidentally surveilled? Then you go and ask her the O'Reilly question. What say you, Susan Rice, if she did?
Okay. Now, what committee should do that in the Senate?
Good question. This is where it's confusing. So you got Brennan and Clapper are probably under the jurisdiction of the intelligence community, right. But I've made a request as the Judiciary Subcommittee Chairman for Clapper, Brennan, Sally Yates to come before our committee and testify in public. We'll see if we can do that.
All right. Now, can you compel them to come to your committee? Can you compel them to do it by subpoena?
They said they would come. They only want to come once. They'll testify once in open hearing, once in a closed session. I've got to coordinate this with the Intelligence Committee to figure out who's in charge. Sally Yates was in the Justice Department, so she's under the Judiciary Committee jurisdiction. The other two are probably under the Intel jurisdiction. But my committee is ready to move forward with public testimony of Brennan, Clapper, and Yates. And I would ask Brennan and Clapper, did Susan Rice ever come to any of your organizations and ask that names be unmasked?
Okay, and that's a simple question, a yes or no.
Right.
Now, we assume that when Ambassador Rice gets called before any congressional committee, because the House is investigating too, she's going to take the fifth, just like Lois Lerner did.
I'd be surprised. She says she did nothing wrong, but we're trying to build a case here, I suppose, just in the old-fashioned way. The people in charge of the collection need to be asked, did Susan Rice ever ask for any of the material you collected to be unmasked? And if she did, what did she do with it? And if she takes the fifth, that would be stunning.
Why would it be stunning, though? Don't you feel that she's in a precarious position right now? And don't you feel that her attorneys are going to say, listen, you know, there's a lot of implications here, and there are a lot of laws in here, and, you know, you might get tripped up or something like that. It'd be a lot easier for you to just plead the fifth. Don't you think any attorney would tell her that?
Well, that's kind of inconsistent with what she said. She said she did nothing wrong. But, yeah, you know, I've been a lawyer. Maybe I'll tell my client out of abundance of caution, don't answer any of these questions. I don't pretend to your audience to be a legal expert on unmasking, but I'm going to try to find out about what the rules are and if they were violated, are they crimes. But then if she took the fifth, then it'd be up to us to say, is it important enough for the country to give her immunity to get to the bottom of this?
You know, it's a story that is now politicized. You know that.
Yeah, it is.
Your Democratic colleagues in the Senate don't want any part of this, right?
We'll see. I don't know. You know, Sheldon Whitehouse has been really good. I want to hear from Brennan and Clapper about potential Trump ties. Clapper said during his watch, on his watch, there was no evidence of collaboration.
The Russian thing, I understand. But don't you think the Senate's about as polarized as you've ever seen it in your career right now?
Absolutely.
You know, it's war. The Gorsuch thing, you know, it's going to come down to, you're going to have to change the rules in the Senate to vote him in.
Right.
You're not going to get, a few senators on the Democratic side will support. But it's basically run by Chuck Schumer now, and Schumer is going to say, we're going to oppose everything Donald Trump does to try to portray a president as too weak to govern. You know the strategy.
Yeah, well, we're still in charge of the place, so as people in charge of the place, we can conduct hearings. And I don't think it's inappropriate to ask the question of the intelligence community.
No, of course it's not. I mean, the American people need to know
I'm going to do it.
If the Obama White House, and not the president himself, but one of his top aides, was using her position to advance a political agenda. Because that's what this is all about. She's not taking an interest in the Trump people for any other reason than politics. There's no other reason on the planet. than politics.
If she did it, that would be that'd be a logical conclusion. So what are they going to do to me if I do my job? Nothing. I mean, my job is to find out what happened, all things Russia, and if part of this all things Russia is that the National Security Advisor to President Obama was actually unmasking Trump transition figures for political purposes before the election, Trump campaign people, I want to know that. And
sure, and the whole country wants, well.
So you're going to get the answers to those questions.
The people who don't have a political agenda want to know it, but the Democratic Party certainly wants to protect the Obama administration and Susan Rice, and they're going to do everything they can. And the media, the left-leaning media, is wanting part of this story.
Too bad. Too bad. I mean, you don't always get what you want. That's what the Rolling Stones said.
So you're going to say that you're going to get to the bottom of it? You're confident with all of the Lois Lerner stuff and Benghazi stuff and all that? You're going to get to the bottom of this, you think?
I'm going to ask the questions that need to be asked regarding Susan Rice, and I've been pretty honest about this on the Trump side. I've said I want to know, were there Trump ties to Russia before the election?
All fair-minded people want to know that. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Okay, I've got to ask you a question about Syria because you're deeply involved in foreign affairs.
Right.
So President Trump once again today said he's not going to say what he's going to do because when you tell the enemy what you're going to do, it gives the enemy time to prepare, the enemy now being Syria and Assad. Assad's a tyrant. He gasses babies. We all know that. Obama didn't do anything to him. Trump almost has to do something. So if you were the National Security Advisor, Senator, what would you tell Donald Trump specifically to do to Syria?
Destroy his air power and create a safe zone in Syria where this never happens again. I would punish him militarily. So by destroying,
you'd have to bomb. We'd have to bomb their airfields, correct?
Right.
There are Russian planes there.
Yeah, they should move them.
But then you'd have to tell them you were going to bomb beforehand.
I think I would probably do that.
Okay, but you warn them, and then boom, you destroy their infrastructure on the air side.
Then I would make sure there would never be another incident like the people in Idlib would never be bombed again by Assad. There'd be safe havens where people could go back to Syria from Europe and the United States.
Well, we've said that for years. That NATO
Talk won't do it. Talk won't do it. So this is a time for President Trump to show the world he's not President Obama. This is a horrible event out of which could come an opportunity to reset the Mideast, to establish his presidency as something different than Obama, to send a signal to every dictator in the world there's a new sheriff in town. And if he would actually hold Assad accountable and protect the innocent people of Syria, it would help us in North Korea and in Iran and everywhere else. All right.
Well, Senator, we appreciate it. Keep us posted on your investigation and who you're going to call, and we really appreciate it tonight.
Thank you.